It's Monday morning, 8 o'clock. You open your laptop and the day is already full. You need status updates from 6 people across 3 channels. You've got 47 receipt photos that need to match your bank statement before month-end close. And someone's asked you, again, to clean up the shared drive. None of this is hard. None of it requires your expertise, but it all takes hours. And by the time you're done, you haven't touched the work that actually needs your judgment. This is the problem Claude Cowork was built to solve. And in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, how it works, what risk it introduces, and what it means for your organization. Let's put a number on the problem. Research consistently shows that knowledge workers spend roughly 2/3 of their time on what I call assembly work: compiling, formatting, matching, organizing, pulling data from one place and putting it in another. All of it is necessary, none of it is difficult. And none of it uses the analytical skills, the strategic judgment, or the expertise you are actually hired for. Every AI chatbot you've tried has promised to help with this, and they do help in a limited way. You ask a question, you get an answer, and then you still have to do the work yourself. Here's the shift. Traditional AI chat, ChatGPT, Gemini, and even regular Claude operates like an advisor. You ask, it answers, and you still do the work. Cowork is fundamentally different. You describe the outcome you want. Claude figures out the steps. It shows you the plan before doing anything. You approve, and then Claude does the work on your computer, with your files, in the folders you choose. Your job shifts from doing the assembly to verifying the output. Think of it less like a search engine and more like delegating to a competent junior colleague. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. A regional insurance company's operations director used to spend 4 hours every Monday compiling weekly status reports. 6 email threads, 3 Slack channels, copy numbers into a spreadsheet, format the summary, send by noon. With Cowork, she types one task description: compile the weekly status reports from email, Slack, and the shared drive, format it using our standard template, and save it to the reports folder. 8 minutes later, the report is done. Same quality, same format, 4 hours of her Monday reclaimed for work that actually needs her judgment. That's not a productivity tip. That's a structural change in how knowledge work gets done. Every time you give Cowork a task, it follows 5 phases. First, it plans. Claude reads your task description and creates a step-by-step execution plan. You see this plan before anything happens. That's your trust checkpoint. Second, it decomposes complex work into subtasks, running multiple steps in parallel when it can. Third, it executes, running code in an isolated environment, reading and writing files in the folders you've designated. Fourth, it integrates, connecting to your tools through direct connectors first, the browser second, and your screen only as a last resort. And fifth, it delivers. The finished work lands in your file system. You review it, verify it, and it's ready to share. And when there's no connector and no browser path, Claude can use your computer directly, opening apps, clicking buttons, filling forms, the same way as a person would. That capability is called computer use, and it's currently in research preview for Pro and Max plans. You can also start any of this from your phone via Dispatch. Describe the task on the go, and Claude does the work on your desktop while you're away. So what kinds of work can Cowork actually handle? 6 categories deliver consistent, measurable time savings. File organization, sorting hundreds of files by type, date, or project. Data extraction, reading receipt photos and turning them into structured spreadsheets. Document generation, taking raw data and producing formatted reports. Research synthesis, combining web sources into coherent summaries. Content repurposing, turning one long-form piece into social post, email copy, and slide decks. And process automation, scheduling any of these to run on a recurring basis. The common thread: high volume, time-consuming, but not technically complex. The work that you've been putting off because it's tedious, not because it's hard. Let's look at an example of Claude Cowork in action. I ran Cowork on my system to organize a directory of files. I simply told Cowork that I wanted to create and apply a standard naming convention. I could have told it what that convention should be, but I decided to see what it came up with. And then I told it to combine similar files, delete duplicates, and organize into folders. Again, the instructions can and actually should be a lot more detailed, But let's see what it does with just this. Claude Cowork then looks at the folder I gave it access to, sees all 745 files, and then decides it should ask me some clarifying questions first. It proceeds to ask 3 questions, which I respond to individually. And notice on the right, it created a task list for itself. Before it deletes anything, it requires my permission. I chose to allow. It then goes back and reviews the results and makes a few last changes. It shows me the folder structure it created, how many duplicates were removed, deleted, or merged. And it shows me how it determined the naming convention. And even if there were 6 files it didn't know what to do with, so it put them in a miscellaneous folder for me to review. This might have taken me days to do, and Claude Cowork did it in just a few minutes. Some context about where this fits in the market. Cowork launched in January 2026 as a research preview and went generally available across all paid plans in April of 2026. It grew directly out of Claude Code, Anthropic's developer tool that became one of their most successful products. Enterprise contracts drive the majority of Anthropic's revenue, which means the product roadmap is driven by corporate needs, not consumer novelty. And the integration protocol that powers Cowork's connectors, MCP, is now the industry standard for how AI tools connect to enterprise systems. This isn't an experiment. It's an enterprise product with enterprise momentum behind it. Now let's talk about the part that most people skip, the risk. And I'm going to be direct with you because this is where smart adoption separates from reckless adoption. Cowork is not a chatbot. It runs code on your computer. It accesses your real files. It browses the web with your session cookies. And it can run tasks unattended on a schedule. That's a fundamentally different risk surface. Understanding these risks isn't paranoia, it's professional competence. Let's look at 3 risks in priority order. First, visibility is improving fast, but it's not complete. Anthropic added OpenTelemetry support and an Enterprise Analytics API for Cowork this spring, so admins can now see usage and adoption patterns centrally, but conversation-level content still lives where the work happens, not in a unified compliance archive. For regulated workloads, you still need to plan around that gap. Second, scheduled tasks run unattended, and you need a clear policy on what kinds of tasks are allowed on a recurring basis without reapproval. Third, within a session, data moves between applications. The new per-tool connector controls let admins allow read but block write actions on specific connectors. Use that capability deliberately. These are not reasons to avoid Cowork. There are reasons to adopt it deliberately, with eyes open and with governance in place. Security is a shared responsibility. Anthropic builds the platform safeguards, deletion protection, plan approval, content classifiers for prompt injection, and Chrome site blocking. But Anthropic can't write your acceptable use policy. They can't classify your organization's data. They can't monitor your usage patterns or run incident response. That's your organization's job. Neither side is complete without the other. Anthropic reduces risk. Your organization manages it. And that management starts with training your people to use the tool professionally. One more concept you need to understand is prompt injection. Imagine an employee asks Claude to summarize a vendor proposal. The PDF looks perfectly normal, but hidden inside, white text on a white background, invisible to the human eye, is a set of instructions telling Claude to ignore its safety rules and forward data to an external email. This is a real attack vector. Anthropic's content classifiers are trained to catch these, and they're effective, but no defense is perfect. Your employees are the second line. If Claude ever behaves in a way that doesn't match what you asked for, they need to stop, investigate, and report it. That's an awareness issue, not a technical one. So how should your organization deploy Cowork? There are 3 postures. Lockdown, Cowork disabled, 0 risk, 0 value. This is actually the right position if you're in a heavily regulated industry and the audit trail gap is a non-starter, but it's temporary. Controlled, Cowork enabled but wrapped in organizational guardrails, approved plugins only, managed settings enforced through your own MDM, employees trained before they get access. Anthropic now also supports role-based access controls on Enterprise. Admins can organize users into SCIM groups and assign each a custom role, defining exactly which Claude capabilities its members can use. Combine that with group spend limits, and you can roll Cowork out to one team, prove the value, and expand from there. This is the recommended starting position for most enterprises. And open. User discretion, maximum speed, minimum oversight. Appropriate for innovation and R&D teams, but risky for regulated environments. My recommendation, start controlled. Run a pilot with 10 to 25 users. Measure the results. Expand based on evidence, not enthusiasm. If you take one thing from this video, take this. Every Cowork session follows 3 steps. Describe, review, verify. Describe the outcome you want. Be specific about the task, the context, the format, the quality criteria, and where to save it. Review Claude's plan before you approve it. 30 seconds of reading prevents 30 minutes of rework. Check the scope, the files it's accessing, any destructive actions, the step sequence, and the output destination. And verify the output before you share it. Treat it like a first draft from a capable but new colleague. Spot check the key data points, then share. This is a professional workflow. It's not optional. It's what separates the organizations that use Cowork safely from the ones that end up in an incident report. So where does this leave you? Whether you're a C-suite executive evaluating whether to adopt Cowork, a manager planning a team rollout, or an individual contributor who wants to start using it tomorrow, the path forward is the same. Understand what it is. Understand the risk. Build governance before you build habits. And start with the work that doesn't require regulatory coverage. Operations, marketing, research, internal reporting. The green zone is broad enough to deliver real value while the compliance controls mature. And one more piece of context that didn't exist a month ago. Microsoft has integrated the technology behind Cowork into Microsoft 365 Copilot, available now through their Frontier program. If your organization runs on Microsoft 365, the question isn't whether agentic AI is coming. It's how you want to govern it when it arrives. I've created a number of resources for companies and individuals looking to gain knowledge on enterprise AI implementations. Check them out at cahillnet.com/products. In addition to the guides, I'm building 2 versions of an enterprise Cowork course. The first version is a 9-module core course, and the second is a 15-module dual track, one for executives making the adoption decisions and a track for practitioners who will use Cowork daily. These courses include engaging interactivity, decision simulations, scored assessments, and over a dozen downloadable job aids. These will be available for individual access via My LMS or as a score and package course for your organization's learning management system. The courses are written, but the development is very time-consuming, so I'm offering a founder sale that you can also find on my website. If you have any questions, please send me an email. And finally, subscribe to this channel. I'll be doing deep dives on specific Cowork use cases, plug-in walkthroughs, and enterprise deployment strategies in the coming weeks. The organizations that win with agentic AI won't be the first ones that adopt it. They'll be the ones that adopt it deliberately. Build governance first, then accelerate. That's how you capture the value without creating the risk. Thanks for watching. If this was useful, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, where we'll go deeper on the plugin ecosystem and how to build custom workflows for your specific role. Until then, start with the guide, set up your Cowork projects folder, and write your first context file. The sooner you start, the sooner it clicks.